What's up, guys? Sci-Fi Guy 2094 here. Today I have a really good movie to review for you. So I'm going to be talking about 2023's Cobweb. It is a nice little, I believe it's independent horror film. So we're introduced to Peter. He's like a young kid. He's like 8, 10 years old, something like that. And he lives with his parents. They say he has an overactive imagination because every time he hears things go bump in the night, they're just like, oh, it's your imagination. You're just imagining these things. He has nightmares as well. And he keeps hearing these knocks or these taps in his wall in his bedroom. And so what happens is, he puts his ear to the wall and he'll do a few taps, and then the same thing will happen. Like if he does 3 taps, he'll hear 3 taps back. And, this goes on for some time. He tells his parents about it, and they just don't believe him. And even when they put their ear to the door and try to listen, they don't hear anything. So I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe this kid is imagining things, because when the parents show up, they don't hear anything. So I was like, okay, maybe this kid is dreaming, or maybe he is just imagining things. So the father takes Peter out to their shed in the backyard, and he's like, well, let's just get this rat poison. That's what it probably is. So they bring some rat poison in, and they lay rat poison down. So that is, to the father, it's like the solution to the problem. Okay. But as we see things start to progress, this tapping and this noise turns into a voice and starts to talk to Peter. And Peter is talking back to this voice because he wants a friend. He needs a friend. He gets bullied at school by this one guy, this one other kid. And, he just needs a friend, basically. And his parents are very strict. They are kind of weird. They seem really, really overprotective of him in a strange way. And that's because they said during Halloween, a little girl went missing. And that was in their neighborhood. And so they're super protective of him. The mom has this key that she takes everywhere, like this key ring to, open the front door. And there's tons of locks on the front door. So anyway, the girl starts talking to him, and she says she's been there for a long time. Don't believe your parents. They're lying to you. They're not good people because they have me locked in here. And I pretty much figured out, I was like, okay, well, this person in the wall is probably his sister. Turns out it is his sister. And they concoct this plan to basically free her, but unfortunately it involves the death of his parents. So the rat poison that his father showed him, he takes that and he puts it in their soup. And this is where it takes a really kind of a horror turn, because once they start like puking and they're like dying, like the dad's like, call 911. And that's when it really just, that's kind of when this movie shifts to like more of a horror instead of like a mystery. Because once his parents are dead, he gets the key and he moves this big grandfather clock out of the way, and he unlocks the door. And now this thing is free, and he's terrified of her. And his mom was like, before she died, her dying words were, don't let her out. So this thing it's not just some normal girl. Like, it's kind of like this fiendish creature. And she basically just starts to kill everybody. And when I say everybody, this whole event coincided with the bully. He got his family, his brothers, his cousins, or whatever, and they came to the house because Peter had pushed him down the stairs earlier in the year. And now this kid wants revenge. So they come to his house, but unfortunately that is a grave mistake because it coincides with the events that Peter has just perpetrated against his parents. and he unlocks this creature, which is his sister. So basically, she kills all those people, and she's got like this long hair, right? And she can use it to like grab onto people, and she's kind of just like a, I don't know, she's kind of like a phantom-like creature, kind of like a demonic creature you see in a lot of horror movies who can seemingly disappear and reappear. She's crawling on walls. Except this is a little bit creepy because she's got just like this long hair and she can use it to ensnare people. So she basically kills all of them. And yeah, Peter's just terrified. He realizes he kind of made a mistake. And his substitute teacher, who has, taken an interest into Peter and making sure that he's okay, because he drew a picture that said, "Help me." And so basically she had made some house visits, even though the principal didn't want her to. And just to make sure Peter was okay. And the parents assured her everything's fine. So anyway, that teacher is now here at the house, and she's basically come here to like save Peter from this fiend, this type of weird demonic creature. So they are successful in trapping this thing down and back in her imprisonment. So seemingly they save the day, and this evil is locked back up. Now, what can I say about this movie? I thought it was decent. I thought it was fairly good. I kind of like the first half better. I like the suspense and the mystery and just like the weirdness of his parents. And then second half, once it becomes more horror oriented, I don't know. I just felt like it was like a generic movie monster, kind of like you'd see in The Grudge or something like that. But still, wasn't bad. I wish we got more glimpses of the creature's face. We could have seen a little bit more, and we could have got a little bit more of her backstory. I mean, basically, she told him that, well, once you were born, you were perfect, and I was just like this weird thing that they didn't want. And that's why they basically, I believe they buried her in the backyard because there's a skull back there. And I don't know if she's like a spirit or if this is actually her body, because there are bones buried in the backyard. So that's seemingly her. And she's locked in the house, so I'm not really sure what happened there. But and seemingly she's more of like a supernatural creature, seeing as though she doesn't really have to eat, I would assume, unless they've been feeding her every day, in which case I wouldn't see the point, because that would be keeping her alive. So I do believe she's like some type of supernatural entity. But anyway, I thought it was a decent movie. I like it as a horror movie. It's pretty good, I think. And I'd give this a good 7 out of 10.